Have you been staring at that dreaded Step 2 Adsense error after finally qualifying for YouTube monetization? I know exactly how frustrating it is because this happened to me. I spent hours watching videos, reading forums, checking every Google account I owned, and nothing worked. I honestly thought I was never going to get past Step 2. But after working directly with YouTube partner support for nearly 2 weeks, I discovered what was actually causing my error, and it wasn't anything I found in the videos I had watched. Now, I want to be very clear before we get started. This may not be the cause of everyone's Step 2 error. There are different reasons this error can happen. But in my specific case, this was the exact issue that kept me from getting monetized, and I'm sharing it in hopes that it helps someone else who's completely stuck. If you're ready, let's walk through exactly what happened. So normally here on the Funeral Channel Network, we cover topics related to funerals, memorial services, cremation, grief support, and meaningful ways to honor a loved one. But today, I'm stepping away from our usual programming to share a personal experience with YouTube monetization, one I truly wish someone had explained to me when I was going through it. After I reached the first level of YouTube monetization requirements, I completed Step 1 with no problem. I accepted the YouTube Partner Program terms, expecting everything else to be straightforward. Instead, I hit the infamous Adsense Step 2 error, and that's where my monetization process came to a complete stop. What followed was about 2 weeks of working with YouTube Partner support, recovering an old Google account I had completely forgotten about, wading through Google's mandatory security hold, and finally watching that red error disappear. If you're seeing that same Step 2 message, I'm going to show you exactly what happened in my case, what finally fixed it, and hopefully save you a lot of time and frustration. Let's get started. After I reached the required public watch hours, I moved forward with the YouTube monetization process. Step 1 was easy. I accepted the YouTube Partner Program terms, and everything appeared to be moving in the right direction. Then my progress suddenly came to a complete stop. I was hit with the dreaded Step 2 Adsense error. I watched several tutorials, reviewed my current Google accounts, and tried to figure out what I had done wrong. But nothing cleared the warning. Eventually, I discovered that my problem was being caused by an older legacy Adsense account connected to an email address I had nearly forgotten about. I want to be clear that this may not be the cause of everyone's Step 2 error. However, in my case, this was the exact issue preventing my application from moving forward. Because I had reached the first monetization tier, I now had access to YouTube Partner Chat support. That access became the most important part of this entire process. I realized that I was not going to solve the problem by simply changing settings or creating another Adsense account. Instead, I needed help identifying whether an older account was still connected to my YouTube channel. Before contacting support, I thought about every personal, business, and brand email address I had used over the years. I had several email addresses, so I knew there was a possibility that one of them had been used for Adsense in the past. At this point, I did not randomly close or disable any Adsense accounts. I was concerned that I might accidentally close the exact account YouTube needed me to keep active. That is why I recommend pausing before deleting anything. In my situation, I needed to identify the correct account first, and then follow the instructions provided by support. Closing the wrong account too early could have created an even bigger problem. I went into my YouTube Studio dashboard and opened the YouTube Partner Chat support feature. I explained that my monetization application was blocked by the Step 2 Adsense error. Then I asked the support agent a very specific question. I asked whether an older or separate email address was connected to my channel's Adsense profile. For security reasons, the agent could not give me the complete email address. However, the agent provided a partial hint showing the first few letters of the connected email. That small clue was exactly what I needed. It helped me stop guessing and identify the older email address that appeared to be causing the account conflict. Once I recognized the old email address, I attempted to log in. I entered the correct password, but I immediately ran into another obstacle. The two-step verification code was being sent to an old phone number that I no longer owned. Even though I knew the email address and password, I still could not fully access the account. The outdated phone number had locked me out. When I reached the screen showing that the verification code was being sent to the old phone number, I stopped and documented exactly what was happening. I used a screen recording tool to capture the login process. The recording showed that I had the correct password but could not complete the login because the verification code was being sent to a phone number I could no longer access. This recording became important evidence during the account recovery process. After speaking with support, I received a recovery email requesting additional information. I replied with a screen recording and answered the security questions they provided. I also monitored my case through the support ticket area of the YouTube help portal. That allowed me to confirm that my case was still active. At times, it felt like I had reached another dead end. However, I learned that this step was necessary because Google needed enough information to verify that I was the legitimate owner of the legacy account. Eventually, support emailed me an official recovery link. I carefully followed the instructions and updated the recovery information connected to the old account. I changed the recovery phone number and updated the recovery email address. I thought I would immediately regain full access, but there was still another waiting period ahead. After updating the recovery information, Google placed a mandatory 7-day security hold on the account. During this period, my new phone number was not fully recognized by the system. There was nothing else I could do except wait. This was probably one of the most frustrating parts of the entire process because it felt like nothing was happening. However, the security timer had to expire before the new phone number would become fully active. I resisted the urge to make more changes because I did not want to restart the process or create another problem. I simply followed the instructions from support and waited. On day 8, I attempted to log into the legacy account again. This time, my updated phone number was fully active. I finally had complete administrative access to the old account. Recovering the account was a major breakthrough, but I still had one final cleanup step to complete. While trying to fix the Step 2 error, I had created a newer Adsense account. That newer account was conflicting with the original legacy account connected to my channel. After confirming what I needed to do, I disabled the incorrect newer Adsense account and left the recovered legacy account active. This is why I do not recommend randomly closing accounts before speaking with support. In my case, I needed to keep the original legacy account and remove the newer conflicting one. Once I isolated the correct account, the contradiction between the two Adsense accounts was finally resolved. After recovering the legacy account and disabling the conflicting newer account, I returned to my YouTube Studio dashboard. The stubborn red Step 2 error was finally gone. The status automatically changed from an error to processing. After nearly 2 weeks of support conversations, account recovery, screen recordings, security questions, and waiting through the 7-day hold, my monetization application was finally moving forward again. The biggest lesson I learned was not to keep creating new Adsense accounts or randomly closing existing ones. In my case, the solution was finding the forgotten legacy account connected to my channel, recovering access to it, and disabling the newer account that was creating the conflict. If you have tried the usual troubleshooting methods and nothing is working, it may be worth asking YouTube partner support whether an older Adsense account is connected to another email address. Follow the instructions support gives you, document everything, and be patient with the security waiting periods. During the waiting periods, I want to encourage you to keep creating video content. I know it's frustrating, but don't stop making videos in spite of all this. It does pay off in the end. Even when it feels like nothing is happening, the process may still be moving forward behind the scenes. I hope sharing what happened to me helps another creator get past the Step 2 Adsense error and move one step closer to completing YouTube monetization. I'll see you in the next one.